cynicism is gone.
Hello everyone, Joshua Myers here, and welcome back to my 31 Days of Halloween Review series, and we are on the final day. This is the last one for this year. I got a good one for you guys, and that is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers from 1988.
10 years ago, Halloween, evil had a shape. Terror had a night. And now, he's back.
6 bodies, Sheriff, that's what I've seen. I tell you, Michael Myers is here, in this town.
Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. He's come home to kill. Halloween 4, rated R.
Starts Friday, October 21st at theaters everywhere.
Halloween 4 stars Donald Pleasence, Ellie Cornell, Danielle Harris, Bayou Starr, and is directed by Dwight Whittle. The plot of Halloween 4 is that the apparently comatose Michael Myers, portrayed by George P. Wilbur, is being transferred from one hospital to another, but he eventually wakes up when he hears the ambulance crew talking about his surviving niece, Jamie, portrayed by Danielle Harris. After slaughtering the entire ambulance crew, Myers sets out to find his one living relative, who is being under the care of her kind and resourceful foster sister, Rachel, portrayed by Ellie Cornell. Meanwhile, the ever-cautious Dr. Loomis, portrayed by Donald Pleasence, remains on the killer's path. One of the biggest positives, I think, of this movie is the cinematography, I think, and the mood and the atmosphere. It so harkens back to that original 1978 movie. Actually, they utilize stuff like the blue lighting filters and everything during the night shots. There are some moments where you do not see most of Myers' face and everything. They try to keep him in the shadows as much as they can. I love that. And something I feel like most Halloween films, even Halloween 2018, didn't really do that great of a job of, but Halloween 4 did a great job at that. Also, another positive I have is the story. I mean, what they did was went back to basics. I mean, if you look on it on paper, it does sound like we're retreading quite a bit. You know, like, Michael Myers escapes on Halloween night, goes back to Haddonfield, tries to track down a member of his family to kill. You know, Dr. Loomis has to save the day and everything. There's stuff with babysitters and stuff like that. Sounds like we're retreading quite a bit. But the way they handled all that retread, they tried to make sure they're damned as they weren't, like, copying the original piece by piece. I felt like, honestly, this is kind of what I would expect from a Halloween sequel. It does a lot new, but it still stays true to the original movie. I think even more so than the original Halloween 2, which if you watch my review of that, there were a lot of things I didn't like about that. And also, I like the characters, actually, especially the main characters you're supposed to root for. I really like, of course, Donald Pleasence as Dr. Loomis is awesome as always in these movies. He gives us outstanding performance. 6 bodies, Sheriff, that's what I've seen between here and Ridgemont. He's here to kill that little girl and anybody who stands in his way. That was my best attempt at Loomis' voice and performance. If you guys like that, let me know in the comments. But yeah, his performance was just awesome in this movie, actually. I think probably, I don't know, honestly. There's times I think his performance is even better, like probably the best in the franchise, my opinion, in this movie. Even more so than the original Halloween, there's a lot more of Loomis throughout this movie. Other characters I liked include the 2 main characters, really. Rachel, portrayed by Ellie Cornell, and Jamie, portrayed by Danielle Harris. First of all, let's talk about Rachel. Now, I will admit, when watching this movie, I would be like, there was kind of some conflicting things between my thoughts on Rachel. First of all, I did thought she was kind of a bit selfish of a person. But even then, it's like okay, let me rephrase it. Like, they were saying how she was being selfish and that because, you know, she had to watch over Jamie and that. And she didn't want to. She wanted to be with her boyfriend because they had a date night planned and everything. And to be honest, that's not really a selfish thing in my opinion. I mean, anybody would be disappointed or upset that, you know, plans had to change and everything just last minute with their, you know, romantic other, especially if you planned a special night or something. So realistically, anybody would be upset about that. I mean, I know I would. But I think really for me, what kind of made her go off as selfish is just how she went kind of off on her parents. It's like basically it's like,
Tonight, Brady was ready to make a commitment. But now, my future relationship, my engagement, my marriage, my children, and your grandchildren have all been wiped out because I have to babysit. Oh, joy.
I'm sorry I ruined everything. I wasn't here. You can go out.
Oh.
Good job, Rachel. That little girl needs all the love we can give her right now. All you can do is think about yourself.
now I think stuff like that's basically how she comes off as selfish and stuff like that, and a little bit too much with that, you know, kind of a bit bitchy. But over the course of the movie, she starts to develop as a character, I think. Really protective of Jamie and that, and really taking action in terms of basically protecting her against Myers. Another character I liked, of course, is Jamie, portrayed by Daniel Harris, Michael Sneed. I really dug this character, actually. It's not just how the character's written I like, but the performance by 10-year-old Daniel Harris was just great, actually.
Do you love me, Rachel?
Serious questions tonight. Of course I love you.
Like a sister?
Jamie, sometimes
Like a real sister?
we're not really sisters, Jamie. But that doesn't mean that I love you any less.
Sure it does.
This is one of the better child performances in a movie, especially in a horror film. And I can see why she became a fan favorite. I really do. She was good then, and she is a great actress now. Like, I watched her in Hatchet 2. She was great in Hatchet 2. I still have yet to see Hatchet 3 and Victor Crowley. I'll probably do that at some point soon. But yeah, she was overall great, and you really cared for Jamie here and everything. Didn't want to see anything bad happen to her. I even like the new sheriff they got in this movie, Sheriff Meeker. In fact, to be honest, I kind of liked him better than Sheriff Brackett. Mainly because of the fact that, unlike Sheriff Brackett, Sheriff Meeker took even more action and automatically believed what Loomis was saying about Michael's return and everything, and did even way more so than Sheriff Brackett in terms of like trying to prevent, you know, this from happening.
Wherever she is, that little child is in mortal danger.
Myers has been locked up since before she was born. He's never laid eyes on her.
6 bodies! Sheriff, that's what I've seen between here and Richmond. A filling station in flames. I tell you, Michael Myers is here in this town. He's here to kill that little girl and anybody who gets in his way.
All right, Pierce, call the troopers and check his story out. And assuming what you say is true.
It's true, Sheriff.
All right, it is true. The hell can we do to avoid a repeat of 10 years ago?
Find this little girl, get her someplace safe. Call the local TV station. Tell them to get people off the streets and behind locked doors.
Can't get long distance, Sheriff. Operator says the lines are down.
All right, let's go.
When he makes that call.
All right, Pierce, do it. Let's check on this little girl.
Again, I still like Sheriff Brackett, but I think Sheriff Meeker, so far, I think has probably been the best sheriff of Haddonfield in the entire franchise so far. I also really dug most of the music composed by Alan Howarth. John Carpenter didn't came back for this movie, although he was given credit for the themes he composed in the original movies. He didn't came back. Alan Howarth did came back though. He helped compose with John Carpenter on Halloween 2 and Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, taking full control of Halloween 4. And not bad, honestly. I mean, when Halloween 2018 was announced and everything, if you were to ask me, like, cause at first I thought John Carpenter would have not came back to that movie, even to score the music. And I'm like, okay, if they don't get John Carpenter to compose the music or anything like that, my next best pick would probably have to be Alan Howarth. but surprisingly they got John Carpenter back, which he's also going to compose the music for Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. I really did like most of the music, mostly the newer pieces. I do still kind of like the recompositions of John Carpenter's classics, like of the main theme and stuff like that. But for me, where the strengths lie in this movie in terms of his composing is the new stuff. Also, there's actually a bit of action sequences in this movie that I think actually work really well, especially towards the end of the movie. I also liked in some scenes how they shot Myers' face at times. Also, without getting into spoilers, I actually do like the ending. And it's just such a creepy ending that's definitely up there with some of the creepiest moments throughout the franchise. And something that, when I think about it, still gives me chills. But honestly, for me, that's it with my positives. Because I could keep on going on and on about these. I'll be here all day. So let's just get right on to my negatives, because I unfortunately do have a few. Definitely the biggest negative for me, honestly, is the mask for Michael Myers. I mean, what did they do to it? Like, seriously, take a look at that. What the fuck were they thinking with this mask? Now again, I said there's times where they utilizing a lot, like shadows and that. And the mask actually does look pretty good. But most of the time, you could plainly see the mask and it doesn't look good. I think it would have been better if they did a lot more darkly lit scenes with the mask and everything. And it would have maybe bumped this movie higher on my rating, which I'll get to in a bit. Like, that's one of the things I like better in the original Halloween 2 is the mask. Because it looks much more like the original film's mask, because it is the original film mask. It was just buried under Deborah Hill's bed, for which she was a smoker, so all that kind of coat. And also, too, Dick Warlock had a bigger head and stuff like that than Nick Castle, so it kind of stretched out more. So that's why it kind of looks different. And as far as I know, I think they might have replaced the hair on the Halloween 1 mask for Halloween 2. So with that said, I'm going to give Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, a 4 out of 5 stars. So this is a really good entry to the franchise. I think probably is my, I don't know, maybe, I don't know where I would rank it this, but I do know it's definitely up there with like my top 3 or 4 favorites in this franchise. Definitely a strong entry in this franchise. I highly recommend it. So that's it for this video, and that's also it for my 31 Days of Halloween review series. I had a lot of fun doing this series. I hope you guys did really like this year's 31 Days of Halloween review series. That doesn't mean I'm not going to stop reviewing horror movies. I'm still going to review horror movies all throughout next year and all throughout the rest of this year. Plus, also in December, I got my 12 Days of Christmas review series coming up, so be looking out for that, which I will throw in some Christmas horror. And I'll see you next time.